Hey, you all. Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the south. More specifically, my car. Currently, we are in Waynesville, North Carolina, my hometown, and we're gonna take a little backwoods drive today. We're gonna head through the backwoods roads of the Smoky Mountains and just see some interesting sights, look out for some interesting things to film, some interesting adventures to have, and I'd appreciate it if you guys came along with me. So please, follow me. One thing I do get a lot of questions about is my odometer. I've had this car currently for about 2 years, and we are 84,883 miles. I don't really even know if that's that impressive or not, but for those that asked, there's your answer. First, we'll make a quick little stop here at the post office where I can send out some of the enamel pins that have been recently ordered. We've stopped off here in Cullowhee, North Carolina to check out one of the 7 wonders of western North Carolina, Judaculla Rock. Now, this used to just be a rock sitting in a field. First time I saw it, it was just sitting here. But in recent years, they've built this walkway around the rock to help people observe it and not, put their hands all over it. And there you have it, Judaculla Rock. Now, Judaculla Rock here is an ancient Native American petroglyph, a rock with different symbols carved into it. What is interesting is that these symbols predate the Cherokee Indian that inhabit this area. So even the Cherokee Indian do not know what the symbols mean. And different people have come up with different theories. One of the most interesting theories I've seen is that it was an ancient microscope, and that the symbols are actually little microscopic creatures, which is interesting nonetheless. The Native American legend behind this, the Cherokee actually have their own legend explaining Judaculla Rock, and that what gives it the name Judaculla Rock is the giant by the name of Judaculla actually jumped down from a mountain and landed on the rock and put his footprint in the rock itself. As you look at the rocks, the different little symbols, mention the microscope theory. Some people believed that the different little figures you see are actually amoeba and other microscopic animals that they would not have normally been able to see back then, that maybe ancient people had developed some sort of microscope. As for the Cherokee Indian theory, it's hard to see because this rock is actually worn down quite a bit, but it is believed that that right there is the footprint of Judaculla. A little information here. This is Judaculla, known as the slant-eyed giant. He is a giant hunter that would pounce down from the mountains and hunt wild animals. There's a picture of what that footprint looked like at one point. And this is a famous image. You see, this is where they had covered the symbols all in chalk, or white people had covered the symbols all in chalk so they could be seen better. Unfortunately, that chalk, while it made it clear back then, actually eroded the rock and makes it to more of the worn down version you see today. Yeah, you can see that's, quite a bit of erosion there happened. I think that picture was taken in the 1930s. So quite a bit of damage to the rock. This is kind of a map of the different symbols. You look at it, you do see the microscope theory. You could see where someone could maybe pick up on that. And the sign says that these formations right here actually were created by the Cherokee Indian, who made soapstone bowls out of the rock. These carvings here were them carving out soapstone bowls. Someone has placed a free library here at Judaculla Rock. Oh, apparently it's just become a bird's nest. So no books, just birds. Let's leave them alone. Cullowhee, North Carolina, also the home of this man, Dr. John Romulus Brinkley. As the sign says here, medical maverick, radio and advertising pioneer, candidate for governor of Kansas. His boyhood home stood across the river. And yes, Dr. John Romulus Brinkley, one of the most fascinating characters that I've ever stumbled across. It doesn't mention it here on the sign for some reason, but he is most well known for his trademark medical procedure of implanting goat testicles inside of human beings. Yes, best known for planting goat testicles inside of human beings. He believed it was a cure-all. It could cure, you know, every disease from you know, male infertility to flatulence to depression. He thought that goat testicles were the cure-all. And if anyone knows anything, at least a little bit about surgery, you can't just go implanting random animal parts inside of human beings. The body would obviously reject the goat testicles. People died. Dr. Brinkley's responsible for killing people. They don't put that on the sign either. But yes, just his lifelong obsession was to be a doctor. But he could not find anyone to make him a doctor. You know, he would keep getting kicked out of medical school, he would try to get honorary medical degrees. Finally, he found a medical school in Germany that would give him an honorary medical degree, but it was later overturned by Benito Mussolini himself. Yes, fascist dictator Benito Mussolini stripped him of his honorary doctorhood because of he did not want to be associated with these horrendous goat testicle surgeries. You know, as I also mentioned, radio pioneer on there. Yes, he also, I don't know all the details, but he revolutionized these radio towers that would blast signals like all the way across the country. These overpowered illegal radio stations that would blast radio signals across the country. And of course, the primary purpose he did this was to spread the gospel of his goat testicle surgeries. So yes, very fascinating figure, born here, right here in the little town of Cullowhee, North Carolina. But Dr. Brinkley had a soft side. Here's a monument that he had erected to his Aunt Sally, who was his adoptive mother. So what does it say here? It says, her grave is on the hilltop across the river. She's remembered and loved for her ministrations to the sick of the community. This marker erected in 1937 in loving memory by her little boy Johnny. She was the only mother I ever knew, Dr. John Romulus Brinkley. Just check out this amazing old abandoned church here. Check this out. Appears to be a small dealer of RVs, recreational vehicles. But look at this, they're also selling a very, very tiny helicopter. Look at that. Yeah, it has two blades. I imagine there's probably a third blade supposed to be right there. And just look how tiny this is. Would any of you guys take a ride in this helicopter? I probably would not. It says do not touch, so we will keep our hands off. But yeah, just a tiny little cockpit. I can't imagine more than one person fitting in there in that teeny tiny little helicopter. This rafting company here next to the river. But what's interesting is this, they have a double-decker bus parked in their parking lot. And I don't know where this bus came from, if it was originally from London or somewhere else that has double-decker buses. You can see there's faces painted on it. There's the bus driver right there. Some happy passengers. Yeah, check these people out. They're all excited about going on a double-decker rafting trip. Check out the people on this side of the bus. Oh, look at that happy guy right there. See some people up there. There's a guy with a mustache. Oh, look at this. There's some sort of member of the monarchy riding in the top section of the bus. this back section. We can take a little bit of a peek inside the bus there. See the stairs here. It would take you up to the second floor. I really like that curvy little arrow right there. Now here we have one of those small suspension bridges that'll take us across the river. This is the Nantahala River right here. See, this is a fairly sturdy as far as these bridges go. If you look out there, you can see there's people rafting today on the river. Bunch of yellow rafts heading our way. Hello. Now, the last time I ever went rafting in a river was this river right here, and that was probably, gosh, probably 5 years ago. Probably much longer than that. But yeah, I was in a raft that flipped over, had my whole family in it, and it flipped completely over, and it was the most terrifying experience of my entire life. I just haven't felt like getting on a raft since then. So we get into the summer, you can see the kudzu is growing rather wildly. But look at this. People that have been subscribed to the channel for some time may recognize this. Very early on in this channel, I explored this abandoned boiled peanut stand. For old time's sake, let's take a peek inside. Oh yeah, smashed up pretty good. You can see this old display case has been smashed. Everything's kind of yucky in here. See, they sold local apples and fresh cider and Coca-Cola, or Coke-Cola rather. You can see right here on the bottle opener, there's still a pile of bottle caps laying right there. Quick peek in this creepy back room. You can see they had painted these American flags on the windows. If you look up in the rafters, you see the roof has given way quite a bit. It's a old roller skate. Still rolls. Now I never can drive past a set of Coffin crosses. These are a yellow cross flanked by two blue crosses you'll find all across the country. It was a Reverend Bernard Coffin who planted them as he traveled across the country. I would get out and get a better look, but there's these bee boxes and there's a swarm of angry bees guarding the crosses. Check out those bees. I didn't bring a beekeeper suit, mainly because I do not own a beekeeper suit. But yeah, I probably don't want to try my luck with a swarm of angry bees. Remember, folks, be safe. We saw a set of Coffin crosses. Those were the crosses that were put across the country by Bernard Coffin. But there was another man who traveled across the country planting crosses and hearts. I talked about him recently in a video I did on the Museum of Appalachia, who has a wonderful exhibit on him. But look what we found over here in nearby Andrews, North Carolina. In this overgrown field near the airport, we have a heart planted by Harrison Mays. It says, "Jesus is coming soon." Then on the opposite side, it says, "Prepare to meet God." So we roll into Mackays Ville, Georgia. Take a look at this abandoned Sonic. You can see all those ghostly empty spaces where people used to order foot-long conies and cherry limeades. Here at Leroys Grocery, have these old plastic blow mold signs. I really love those. With that cow all divided up into the proper meat chunks. It's interesting because this gas station is actually abandoned, but the power is actually on in the pumps. It says pump stopped, but it still has like the digital parts on. That really thought that those gas prices are outdated. Obviously, those don't reflect current gas prices. But interesting that the power is still on. Oh wow, looks like they still have a video store. I don't know, the open sign's on, but so I think it's open. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this an operational video store? One of the interesting things about Mackays Ville, Georgia, is that there is a blue line running through the town. And if you cross that blue line, you move from Mackays Ville, Georgia into Copper Hill, Tennessee. It's pretty fun. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. To put 1 foot in Georgia, 1 foot in Tennessee. As you can see, that blue line actually runs through the middle of some buildings. Half this building is in Tennessee and the other half is in Georgia. This Mexican restaurant here, El Rio, actually used to be a funeral home. When the funeral home closed down, they opened up another business in its spot, and then they found there was still a dead body in the back room, so they didn't have any identification, so they actually put the dead body right there in the window and asked if anyone knew who he was. So just any locals walking by the shop could see the dead body and say, oh yeah, I know that guy. I don't know if they ever figured out who he was or not. One of the most infamous stories in this area takes place in this building right here, which used to be known as the New York Hotel. The New York Hotel is where Dr. Thomas Hicks operated. Now, Dr. Hicks operated in the 1950s and 1960s. He was a world famous abortion doctor, operated when abortion was illegal. They even had a special airstrip in this community where the rich families would fly in their daughters that were pregnant out of wedlock so that he could perform abortions. But in addition to abortions, he also performed a lot of adoptions. Apparently he would take a lot of the unwanted babies and, well, adopt might not be the best word because he was outright selling babies. So there was even talk that he had a drive-through baby delivery system where the person would send their information ahead of them and they would drive to a hidden window where one of Dr. Hicks' nurses would hand out a random baby and that person would take it. So people from all over would travel to Dr. Hicks to help find babies for adoption. And this was later discovered, you know, in later years that Dr. Hicks was selling babies, and there became concern about where was he getting all these babies. And there was apparently a lot of the Hicks babies had red hair, much like Dr. Hicks. So there's actually quite a bit of evidence to support the fact that Dr. Hicks was basically having his own children, farming his own children, and selling them for a profit. In Ducktown, Tennessee, here's the Ducktown Copper Inn. You do have to love that sign right there with the shrugging duck on it. Now here's a small family-owned store, a little convenience store out here in the mountain communities. Unfortunately, it's kind of branded with a unfortunate name. Here we have the Cherokee County Rescue Squad. Looks like maybe they've been doing some training here in the parking lot. These two vehicles here look rather decimated. Wonder how they got this van flipped over. Maybe practicing, probably practicing how to extract people from accidents. You can see how the jaws of life were used here to rip the roof open and rescue the passenger on the inside. Pretty impressive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's a little different than what maybe you normally see on this channel. Let me know what you think. If you'd like to see more of these videos, we're maybe just doing a meandering drive and just kind of scoping out different things, smaller spots, smaller stories, and let me know what you think. I appreciate you guys watching. If you'd like to see other places I've been, check the interactive map in the description of this video. If you'd like to help support this channel, consider buying an enamel pin from the Etsy shop. Consider donating to Patreon. $3 or more will get you a postcard once a month. Until next time, this one's in the bag.